We're all hoping to see Ralf Rangnick in the dugout for Manchester United's game against Arsenal on Thursday. Yeah, but we're going to have to wait a little bit. The club has officially confirmed that Carrick is going to be in charge of the team because of the work visa complications. Rangnick won't be ready in time legally to be in that dugout. Reports say that he's going to be in the stands. Maybe he'll have the earpiece on, but I don't think he would because quite literally that would be illegal. But with an eye on this game on Thursday, what's the starting 11 going to be? There were so many questions about that starting 11 against Chelsea at the weekend. You know, we played Bruno in the false nine. Was that down to Rangnick's influence? Did he choose the team? I think Neville went a bit far in suggesting that Rangnick chose the team. But in my opinion, he influenced the team. Carrick was at least part thinking about, right, I've got a new boss coming in soon. What formation do I want to play here that I could showcase? I kind of know what he's talking about. That's what I think we did against Chelsea. But will we see the same team against Arsenal? I'm going to run through my predicted 11 and sort of just the feeling I've got going into this game, all right? So make sure you drop a like on the video if you do enjoy it by the end. But let's take a look. And the only place we can start really is by looking at the team that we had against Chelsea. As I said, there were a lot of surprises in there. Well, there was a ton of surprises. Matic played in a midfield three with McTominay and Fred. Bruno played as a false nine with Sancho and Rashford. And Ronaldo was on the bench. A lot of questions asked about whether that was the right thing to do and whether or not that was a sort of nod towards the Ralf Rangnick style of play. I don't think it is. I think Ronaldo's going to play a very, very central role for Manchester United under Ralf Rangnick. But clearly, there will be some changes inside this Manchester United team. And one that is obvious and straight away, I don't need you to really tell it. I mean, a lot of you might disagree with it, but you know it's going to happen. Maguire was suspended against Chelsea after getting 2 yellows, I believe, against Watford, wasn't it? He will come in. I'll tell you who I thought was really quite good against Chelsea was Eric Bailly. I think out of the 2 centre-backs, he's probably the most likely to keep his position alongside Maguire. And I think it will be those two in the middle of defence, Maguire and Bailly. What's your reaction to that? Do you think I'm wrong to suggest that? Do you think that Lindelof should keep his place in the team? Maguire is Manchester United's captain. And whether you like that or not, Ralf Rangnick, I've said this before on camera, I'll say it again. I don't think that Rangnick's going to come in with any sort of preconceptions about any of these players. I think it's all going to be a clean slate for everybody. Maguire was in a terrible run of form going into this Rangnick era, but I think he'll keep his place inside that team. If we're going down here, I think a player that will also come back in, that's actually, I don't think anybody really talked about it, but Telles against Reece James was considered a massive weak point of Manchester United's team against Chelsea. I thought Telles played pretty well, but saying that, I think it'll be a relatively straightforward switch for that. I think Luke Shaw will come back into the team, and I think Telles will drop back to the bench. What do you think about that? Again, do you think that will be unfair? Given, as I said, I thought Telles, I was expecting him to get properly torn apart, a bit like Dalot against, I think it was Villarreal, Old Trafford. He played pretty well. So I think that back five there kind of chooses itself. Now, what do you think about, Diogo Dalot? Do you think that he could maybe come in for Wan-Bissaka under Ralf Rangnick, that we could be seeing a bit more of him? I would say Wan-Bissaka is a bit of a question mark because with the formation that we're going to be hopefully playing, I think, under Ralf Rangnick, you're going to need to get some width from our fullbacks. So I think that's going to be the back five, but I think there's going to be a lot of changes, both in formation and in the starting 11 of Manchester United's midfield and the attack. But before I do, I just want to say a quick shout out to our sponsors. Before I do move on, I want to say a big shout out to OneFootball for helping support United People's TV throughout the last few months. If you haven't already downloaded the app, you know where to go right now. Head down to the link in the description, download it. First of all, it's free and everyone loves free things. Second of all, it's actually a decent app, more than decent. All the latest Manchester United news, match coverage, pre-game build-up, all the match stats after the game, all the latest transfer news. It's all in one place. That's why it's called OneFootball. So use the link in the description, download it for free. It will support United People's TV. It will support OneFootball, and everyone's a winner. But let's move on to talk about the midfield. So as I said, I think there's going to be some changes to that defence. I think it will be Maguire and Shaw coming back in. And I really think there's going to be quite wholesale changes to this formation. And this is what I think we're going to be seeing. I think Matic, I don't think there's any real chance that he starts this game. I think Ronaldo will start this game. I'm going to bring him back in up here. And we're going to switch, in my opinion, I think we're going to switch to the 4-2-2-2 that I think we're going to be really seeing under Ralf Rangnick. It's a formation which is used most often out at Leipzig. It's a formation which actually suits Manchester United quite well with the players that we've got. I play Rashford up there. I play Bruno out here. And I play Ronaldo up there. That's what I think we're going to be doing against Arsenal. Because, it might be Michael Carrick ball, right? And it might be Michael Carrick's decision as to who he starts against Arsenal. But in reality, he's about to have a brand new boss come in. Why would he play anything different than... And as I said, that game against Chelsea was a nod to it. It was a bit different. It was massively different. We had Bruno operating in that sort of false nine role there. We had Sancho and Rashford playing as wingers. Sancho, by the way, mustard, absolutely mustard against Chelsea. I always knew that we always knew, every United fan knew that at some point this season he would start to shine. He's done that in his last couple of games for Manchester United, and I expect him to now continue. I thought it was going to be a case of, when one goal or one assist comes in, the floodgates open, and I think we've seen it. 2 goals in his last 2 games. I think he's going to be crucial here against Arsenal, again with those overlapping runs, with the movement, and with this formation. We know full well it's massively going to rely on these two. And whether you like him or not, Fred is going to become an absolutely central player to this Ralf Rangnick system, especially because nobody presses like he presses. And you can press a bit chaotically, if we're going to say that. That's going to be down to Bruno Fernandes, and what he does, he just runs around everywhere. If someone else isn't running alongside him, he gets angry. And that tenacity and enthusiasm is good to a certain degree, but it has to be organised, coached, controlled. And that's where I think Ralf Rangnick is going to make Bruno Fernandes an absolute dominant presser. He's going to be really, because he was pressing this, it's about working smart, not working hard, or doing the same, both at the same time. But a lot of the times, Bruno's pressing has been pretty reckless, I think we could fairly say. But I really think we're going to be seeing this 4-2-2-2 against Arsenal, because not only does it actually give a nod towards what's going to come with Rangnick only a few days later against Crystal Palace, it also actually suits Manchester United's players on form. I think if you're looking at Ronaldo, Ronaldo's not going to get thrown out of the team because Rangnick's coming in, man. The concept of that is absolutely mad. Rangnick will find a way to fit him in his system. And I spoke about this before. I think it's a very good comparison and analogy in my head, so I keep saying it. But it's like when Michael Carrick dropped in and became a proper defensive midfielder inside this position. Carrick would never really sort of aggressively press, say, I don't know, Sancho is someone else. Carrick would never aggressively press that ball there. Carrick would basically look for the passing lane and he would move across these stupid rectangles. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. That's the power of doing it in this way. But Carrick would always cut the passing lane instead of really aggressively pressing the player. And I think that's what Ronaldo's going to be doing up front. I think Ronaldo's going to be, instead of, aggressively pressing like someone like Bruno Fernandes, you would expect to do that. Or someone like Fred, you would expect to do that. Ronaldo's going to shift and move in between the passing lanes and press in a different sort of way. And that's what I think he's going to do. Let's find out whether he does or not. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe Ronaldo will get dropped to the bench. And maybe we're going to see lots more of someone like Edinson Cavani, for example. You're looking at someone who's going to thrive in a pressing game. Don't look any further than Edinson Cavani. And again, Rashford, I think he needs to improve his pressing in the smart pressing. I think Rashford and Bruno both press a lot, but they don't press correctly. And it's about pressing as a unit. That's just not what we do. As Ralf Rangnick said, it's like being a little bit of pregnant. You're not a little bit of pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. You either press or you don't. And that's what we need to see United do. And that's why I think, in my opinion, we're going to be seeing a nod towards Rangnick in this formation. Of course we are. In my opinion, I think he influenced Carrick's selection and his thought process in the build-up to the game against Chelsea. Or it's just a massive coincidence that we play Bruno Fernandes as a false nine for the first time. Ronaldo gets dropped to the bench for the first time in the Premier League. And I don't really believe in coincidences that much. Certainly not a couple of big ones like that. Not in the same game. So I think that was Carrick thinking about, right, okay, how can I get this Manchester United team playing how Rangnick wants them to? And of course, this is about pressing as a unit, the countdown timer that's going to come into Manchester United. Out of possession, we've got 8 seconds to win the ball back. Inside possession, we've got 10 seconds to then create a goal-scoring opportunity. And I think Sancho's going to thrive in that system. I think Fred's going to thrive in that system. I think Bruno's going to thrive in that system. And I think Rashford as well. Of course, Ronaldo is a player that we've got concerns about. Of course, we've got concerns about him. But against Arsenal on Thursday, it's not going to be a full gegenpressing system because it's impossible. He's not even coached the players yet. But I don't guarantee, this is my prediction, might be wrong, but I think Carrick's going to set us up in this formation using a 4-2-2-2 with Rashford and Ronaldo as our two strikers, Sancho and Bruno as the two attacking midfielders. The width is going to really have to come from Luke Shaw on the overlap. We're going to have to see Luke Shaw finding his old last season's form, really, because if Luke Shaw doesn't bring the overlapping width down there, and if Wan-Bissaka doesn't bring the overlapping width down there, United are going to be very narrow, and it's going to be quite easy for Arsenal to defend against us. So that would be my starting 11 for the game. De Gea in goal, a back four of Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bailly, and Shaw. Mate, is Varane even fit? I don't know what's going on with Varane. Maybe Varane will come back in the team. I don't think he is, though. But I thought Bailly played quite well against Chelsea, so I would keep him in the team anyway. But McTominay and Fred still holding their positions. McFred, we haven't got rid of them yet. Haidara being linked with him, the RB Leipzig central midfielder. Maybe he'll come in January. But for now, I think that's what we're going to see against Arsenal. It's not going to be the full Rangnick style. Of course it's not. The guy's not even coached our team yet. But I think it will be the formation. And I think we'll semi-play towards it. Because it's not too dissimilar, really, is it, to the 4-2-3-1 that we've been playing a lot this season. So it's not like coaching the players to do it massively differently. It's just a nod towards it. A bit of a bridge between Carrick and Rangnick. And that's why I think that would be my predicted starting 11 for the game against Arsenal. Who would yours be? You let me know in the comments below. Make sure you drop a like on the video. But hopefully we're going to see Rangnick in the stands there at Old Trafford for the game against Arsenal. And hopefully we're going to see him in the dugout for the game against Crystal Palace on Sunday. But it's a big game on Thursday. You know, Arteta's Arsenal are in form. Certainly much better form than they were like a month or two ago. What's your prediction and what's your predicted 11? You let me know in the comments as you always do. Take it easy.